First Sunday of August, and summer is moving right along. And we are knowing that we are getting brighter and brighter as those days move ahead, and lighter too. And so in keeping with that, we're talking about something that's wonderful today. We're talking about the soul. The soul. We're being soulful today. And we know there are two aspects to our being, two major aspects to our being. There's the soul and the personality, the soul or the ego, self. And somehow or another, we have to know that they are friends with each other and supportive of each other and are in alignment with each other. Or at least that's what we want. But since the beginning of time, since time immemorial, humanity has expressed itself as personality, mostly as an egocentric entity. And the soul kind of had a sense to it, and we had a sense of the soul, but not anything to the degree that we have of it in this day and age. And so we got used to the personality being the lead in our lives and being ego-driven. And now, across the board, which is something really very new amongst humankind, we have a greater sense of ourselves as soul, as spirit, as more than a human being. But that we are also an unfolding soul. And the unfolding soul aspect of ourselves is the greatest part of ourselves. So the soul, now we understand, is the essential self of ourselves. It is the great I am of ourselves. It is ourself in our true essence. That's what the soul is. The soul is the eternal continuity of ourselves. It is that which continues on and continues on in its journey of evolving. And it's always moving us deeper into the mystery, the unfolding mystery of ineffable life. And it's a great, wonderful, good thing. And today, and this week, we get to contemplate ourselves as soul, as spirit, as the great I am, and move it more into the place of authority in our lives. Because all power resides within the soul. All power. And it is the job of the soul to guide us in a way that we learn to recognize the soul, identify with the soul, and then learn how to expertly, intelligently, and wisely handle the power of the soul, so that we can live authentic spiritual lives as spiritual beings. And that's a big job. That's a very, very big job. And the whole idea of life and living for us now becomes not gaining power out there, the power that money brings, the power that prestige brings, the power that fame brings, and so on. It's not in managing that power. The focus for us now becomes how to manage the glorious spiritual power within ourselves, and to take charge of that, and to use that and manage that in an intelligent way. That's our task. It's our only task, really. And as we go about the business of the soul, because to get yourself acquainted with your soul, to get yourself working in alignment with the soul, the personality working in alignment with the soul, to make that happen for ourselves, we've got a certain amount of wakening up to do. We have to wake up and recognize some things. Basic fundamental levels of consciousness are 7. There are 7 basic fundamental levels of consciousness or disclosures of the soul. And our first task is to get those in alignment and to understand them and how they work and how they're interrelated. Now, Maslow's pyramid was the first time we were introduced to that. If you remember Maslow's Psychology 101, a pyramid of needs and desires. And so the first level of awareness, especially when we come into the world as babies, the first level of awareness is our level of survival. Survival is the first thing that we want to manage, that we want to learn how to do, is to survive. So when we come in, we have to know that we need food, we need shelter, we need clothing in order to survive physically. First level is all about survival and learning to survive. And if we get a good start on that, we're apt to make a good job of it in young adulthood and so on. If we don't, we still have challenges as we move through life as adults. And if we don't have that need satisfied, those needs, basic needs satisfied, then we grow in anxiety and we grow insecure and we find ourselves unsafe. We don't feel safe. That's the first level. To be safe and secure, we need to have these basic fundamental needs met. Now, the second stage moves into a more socially aware stage. The second stage of growth and development and advancement is to understand that we need human company. We need care. We need to be cared for when we're little. We need to have a certain amount of care, and we need human company, and we need to be nurtured into the process of socialization, how to mix and mingle with others. And then when we get a little bit older, we learn that not only do we need care, but we need to care for too. So one of the first things you teach children, and I can remember doing this myself, is the word gentle. Gentle, you know, when they grab the cat like, you know, like a ball or something. Gentle, gentle, be gentle. We have to be gentle. So we're learning how to interact with our community in all of its aspects, you know, not just the human kingdom, but all of the kingdoms. And so there's a certain socialization that takes place there. Now, if we haven't received the care and the nurturing that we need there, again, we're building up anxiety, we're building up fear, we're building up a sense of insecurity. And later on, we'll have to cope with that, sorting that one out. So that's the second phase. The first one is physical needs, the second one social needs. Now, the third stage, we're moving into personal needs now, becoming more personal in our needs. Now, in this third phase, not only do we want to be fed and clothed and cared for and so on, but we want to have a sense of ourselves. We want to grow a self-awareness. We want to grow in self-value. We want to grow in self-worth. We want to feel that we make it, you know, we make a difference. We're here and that we have a reason to be here and that we are uniquely an individualized expression of life. And again, that requires that we're in the right environment in order for this to happen. And if the first two are in place, the odds are that third place will take place with grace and ease. You know, we'll have a sense of ourselves. We will feel important. We will have a certain value about ourselves and so on. So these first sets of needs are known as deficiency needs, according to Maslow. He calls them deficiency needs. They're basic fundamental needs that everybody has. But when we get to the fourth level of growth in consciousness, a change begins to occur. This is the transformation level. We're moving out of physical and personality needs now, and we're moving more into the realm of the soul and the soul's desires. But this fourth level is the level of transformation. This is when I begin to really put it all together, get a sense of myself as being more than just my three sets of needs here. I'm more than just a physical animal. I'm more than just a social animal. I'm more than just a personal ego that needs to be assuaged so it can feel good about itself and have a self-value. I'm more than that. I'm getting a sense that there's something bigger here, the transformation stage. And that begins now the journey back into the heart. I leave the outside world, the world of personality, the world of ego, and the world of the senses, sensory world, and I'm moving now into the interior life, the vast, deep, wide interior life that is beckoning me, and wherein are the most amazing riches of all to be gleaned and to be gathered and to be achieved. And so that's the fourth stage. And then that moves us into the fifth phase. And in this fifth phase, I am establishing myself in meaning, and I'm discovering my purpose and my vision. And I'm aligning my purpose and vision with my passion, so that I can widen and deepen and heighten my experience of what it is to be a soul, what it is to be an emanation of spirit, what it is to be the image and the likeness of my source. And here I'm grounding myself, I'm centering myself in purpose and vision and mission at this fifth level of integration of the exterior world and the interior world, and making them work together in a unified way. Then I move into the sixth phase. And in the sixth phase now, I'm action-packed. I'm action-oriented. I'm in action mode. In the sixth phase, I want to make the difference. It's the phase I really make the difference in. I want to come into cooperation with other souls to work for a compassionate world that works for all. And I want to become the expression of my vision. I want to become the expression of my purpose. I want to become the expression of my passion. I want to put the verb under the noun, so to speak. That's what I want to do at this sixth phase. And then I hit the seventh phase, which is total devotion, commitment to sacred service, wherein I want to be the givingness of life back onto itself. And because of that, I'm now moving into self-actualization, or God realization. Those are the basic first 7 stages of the unfoldment of a soul, of consciousness. And once I hit that 7th phase, dimensions beyond all imagining begin to open up, and other phases and stages begin to afford an opportunity for the soul's unfoldment. But we leave that for then. Right now, all of us are in the phase of moving into the 7th phase of expression. And that's the soul's work. So the first 3 stages has to do with the ego and the personality and the physicality of ourselves. The transition stage, the transformation stage, is the 4th stage, which is the bridge from the one over into the other. And then in the 2nd phase, the last 3 phases, I am working the soul. I'm doing the work of the soul. I am soulful, I'm soul-oriented, and I am evolving along this trajectory. Now there's the unfoldment of a soul. So this week, you and I get to ask ourselves, where am I in this process? Where am I, and where am I stuck? Most especially, where am I stuck? Am I still stuck down here? Because here's the thing, even though I may reach the 7th phase, it doesn't mean I'm going to stay there. Oh no, you're a human being, I'm a human being. We're going to topple back down right to the very first one, survival at times. And you'll say, oh my God, how did I get myself back down here? Here I am, look at me. I'm scared, I'm afraid, I'm insecure. I don't know, I'm, about the future, whatever it is. Feed me, Seymour, whatever. So the only thing about that is, having hit the 7th phase, we know how to quickly get up on our feet again and move back into a centered awareness of really what's going on, and it's not that. So don't be disappointed with yourself when you're kind of going up and down these levels like steps and stairs, that it's a never-ending thing. You're running up and down them all the time, That's not unusual. That really is not unusual. And so don't fuss over it and don't be disappointed, and it's no big whoop. You just say, okay, I'm here. What's here for me to discover? What have I not done work around yet? Let me see. Now understand this, consciousness is work. Have you noticed that? Growing consciousness is work. It's hard work. It's exhausting at times because we're not going about it the right way. Because there's no struggle and strife or exhaustion in spirit. And if we're going about it the right way, there's no exhaustion. But we exhaust ourselves all the time over so many things. It's not funny. The slightest little thing can exhaust us, depending upon where we are with our biorhythms or Mercury or whatever, Reverend Mary, if Mercury is here, there or yonder. And it's a lovely thing because you can always blame it on Mercury because Mercury's in retrograde at the moment. It's no wonder. Don't worry, Mercury will be out of retrograde very soon, so it'll be better. I mean, when you think about that, really. Anyway, but we just... I'm not saying that planets don't have their influences. They do, but they only have the power over me that I allow them to have over me, like anything else in life and living, that's all. And here's the thing about us as emerging souls, and we are emerging souls. We are so used to, in our history, all along throughout the ages, religion has said to us, oh yes, we acknowledge the soul and so on. But the problem was in the past, and sometimes even now into this present day, we've had too few religious practitioners who actually expressed a living from the soul, in the soul, through the soul, and as the soul. So we didn't have the example to go with the words. And that's okay, because we do the very same thing. We sprout the words, but we're not always the living and good example of what we're saying. It's a learning process too. And it's lovely to be able to arrive at the stage in your life when you can own up and admit that. And don't hide behind a false persona. Everybody is challenged on this plane, and some days every single person, I don't care how holy that person is, someone's going to get on their very last nerve. And they're going to have to really, really, really work at not being perturbed by it. And that's just how it is. But as long as we're keeping honest with ourselves and clear with ourselves and tuned in enough to ourselves to know where we are, we have every opportunity of just learning from it and moving through it and not allowing it to topple us the way we allow ourselves to be toppled so many times. Oh my! You hear people say, oh, she's a very sensitive person. Let me tell you, you're all very sensitive. There's no one in this room that's not very sensitive, and some super sensitive. That 4-year-old is still very alive, well, and kicking in us all. And so that's why you and I have to understand, take things not so personally. Yes, it's personal to you, but don't take it personally all the time. If you're somebody that takes everything personally, start practicing with one thing that you're not going to take personally anymore. Just start with one thing, just one thing. When you've mastered that, go to another one thing, and then another one thing, until you stop taking anything personally. I mean, And especially when you're doing your best to be helpful in a situation, and then somebody lands a ton of bricks on you for being helpful. Because you weren't helpful, you made it worse. Why? Because you held a mirror up to them, and they had to look at themselves, and they didn't like what they saw. So you're to blame. And you're there, supposedly, to help them to feel better about themselves. See? Think about ourselves is we want it and we don't want it. We want spiritual unfoldment, we want spiritual enlightenment, but we don't want it. We don't want it because we don't want to pay the price that it takes in order to achieve it. And we don't want to give ourselves that kind of care and attention that it demands. And we don't want to let go of our nonsense and to let go of the shallow and the superficial and all of that in order to experience the depths of our true being. We just don't. And that is why you hear me say all the time, be careful about how you manage your power, and don't let anybody else manage your power for you, especially people who are not masterful in managing their own power. But that's why we've always wanted a guru or a saint or a sage to take care of us. We've all wanted somebody to take the responsibility on and tell us what to do. Oh, for heaven's sake, we can't go down into a restaurant and open a menu without saying, oh, what are you getting? You order. You know? I mean, that's the kind of thing we do across the board. I don't know what I want, you order. You know? If you don't know what you want, the universe doesn't know what you want, and the universe can't give it to you, for heaven's sakes. And if you keep handing over your decisions to somebody else, you're living randomly, and random living is dangerous. It's like throwing dice. Anything could happen. So this week we look at ourselves and we ask ourselves, soul, how am I with you? How are you with me? Where am I with you? Soul, how much influence do you have on my life? You know, how well am I in touch with you? Am I acquainted with you? Or you can say self. Call yourself the great spirit within you. Now self with capital S. Now self, what do we do with this? Now spirit, what do we do with this? Now soul, what do we do with this? Because it's your responsibility and nobody else's. And as I keep saying, manage your power wisely and well, because all power is yours. All power is yours. Attributes of the soul, 6 very pertinent attributes of the soul is harmony, cooperation, generosity, love, peace, and a sacred reverence for life. Choose one of those every day and decide, today is harmony day. No matter what, I'm going to stay in harmony. I'll be in harmonious relationship with everything and everyone in this day, no matter what. Or go around having a great reverence for all life. Whatever it is. Choose one of them. Harmony, cooperation. I'll be the most cooperative person on the planet today. Generosity. I'll be the most generous person today. Love. I'm going to be the most loving person today. Peace. Oh, peace will ooze out of me today. Whatever it is, choose one attribute. See how you get on with it. At the end of the day, ask yourself, well, did I live up to my decision this morning? And do not wait to get out of the bed before you choose. Lie in the bed still, half awake, half asleep, and say, okay, all right, I know I'm supposed to do something now. Oh yeah, okay, I'm going to choose an attribute. And then choose it. And as you wake up, be deliberate about it. And then hop out of bed feeling good about your choice. Now remember, every choice you make is taking you closer and deeper to the earth and personality, or closer and deeper into the heart and its ineffable mystery of unconditional love. Every choice is doing this or doing this. So be careful with your choices and make your choices consciously. And if we do that this week, we're going to have a great week. And not only are we going to have a great week, but everybody around us is going to benefit too. Blessings will abound for all. You are a soul. Your soul is on fire with power and grace and intelligence. an infinite possibility. And it longs for your connection with that awareness and understanding so that you can come fully into your own and be the great self that you are created to be and live your best possible life from life's highest point of view. Wow! And it desires that because it's possible. You can do it because you're made to do it. You are it already. You just have to remember, I am not this puny, little, insignificant, oversensitive, egotistical, whatever. I am so not that. And that's what gets me into trouble when I identify with it and allow that to be the usurper of my power. Well, not this week. Not today, for the rest of the day. Joy to the world and peace be in it by means of each one of us. Peace to the world and peace be in it by means of each one of us. Harmony to the world and harmony be in it by means of each one of us. And so on. If we say that to ourselves all the time, maybe we'll convince ourselves enough to actually become what we're saying. And I know we can, but only with the support and help of each other. We can't do it alone. We can't do it in isolation. We are born as, yes, individual expressions of spirit, but we're supposed to unify. We're supposed to live in communion with each other. And we can. So I'm looking forward to this week, and I'm knowing that you are too. And no matter what the ailments are, do give them no power. Do not leak your power to ailment. Do not let ailment usurp your power. It's verboten. Tell ailment. Verboten. No entrance. No way. Not happening. This power that is given to me is the power to renew life, to support life, to advance life, to increase life, and in no way to diminish it. It is no thing, and don't allow it to become something. So are we on? Yes. To be soulful this week? Yes. To be light? Yes. To be bright? Yes. To make the difference? Yes. To bless everywhere we are? Yes. And so it is.